Everybody from Conor McGregor to Bruce Lee to Lance Armstrong lifted heavy weights. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And this is something I see a lot of. I'll see people say stuff like, I'm not trying to get big. I'm not trying to look like a bodybuilder. I want to be lean and athletic. And I look at them and go, well, what are you talking about? If you don't want to look like a bodybuilder, then don't gain enough body weight to be 200 pounds. Okay. I mean, seriously, if you don't want to be 200 pounds, then don't eat enough food to gain weight to get to 200 pounds. Okay. And I think that blows people's mind. I'm like, do you really think people get big without eating enough calories to gain the weight? Like, lifting weights doesn't just magically put weight on you. It may recomposition you, but here's the thing. Let's come back over to that because we'll talk about some of these people in a minute. All right? Talk about some of these people for a minute because most of them did try to maximize muscle and strength in the gym within the context of their body weight. All right? But if you don't eat enough to get big and you train hard, what's going to happen? Okay? Let's say you don't ever eat enough to go over 170 pounds, but you get in and you lift some heavy weight. You do a bunch of hypertrophy work and heavy lifting and heavy squats and deadlifts, and you do all these curls and all of this work, but you don't gain enough weight to go over 170 pounds. What do you think will happen? You're probably just going to get really ripped. That's what's going to happen. Okay? That whole nonsense, you're going to do nothing but just spin your wheels. No, you'll recomposition, especially if you're eating enough protein, right? Well, you eat 150 grams of protein. Okay. Let's say that you eat 150 grams of protein every day, but you don't eat enough to really gain any weight, and you train at 170 pounds really hard for the next 5 years. What's going to happen? Or you even drop down to 165 or whatever. You're just going to get real lean. You're going to get shredded. Okay, so do people not get that? You're going to look like Conor McGregor. You're going to look like, well, maybe not Bruce Lee. He weighed less than that. But you see where I'm going with this? You're not going to get big and bulky. It's not going to happen. I don't think people understand how much food you have to eat to be at my size. In these videos, I'm about 210 pounds, by the way, in these video clips. I'm 47 years old. I'm old. I'm 210 pounds in these, walking around. Okay? You know how much food? Do you have any concept of how much food it takes to weigh 210 pounds? Training the way that I train? All right? Just don't eat enough food to gain weight. If you don't gain any weight, you're never going to get that big. But what's going to happen, you'll probably, again, recomposition. All right. But all these people, they're like, why do I want to be lean and athletic and dense? Well, you're going to need to lift some heavy weight then. Because how athletic do you really think you're going to get doing some body weight squats? You know what? Because Bruce Lee was squatting over 300 pounds with a barbell. Okay? Bruce Lee could squat over 300 pounds with a barbell on his back. Bruce Lee could deadlift like 400 plus pounds, if I recall, couldn't he? Yeah? Anyone seen Conor McGregor squat 400 pounds? So if that's what these guys are doing, and I'm just using them as examples, we could talk about countless people like Mike Tyson supposedly squatting 500 pounds and benching 400 and all this stuff. Okay? All right? All these people who everyone thinks of, well, I just want to look like that. I want to be athletic and lean like them. Well, if that's what you're trying to do, you better start doing some weighted chin-ups. You better squat 400 pounds. Okay? If that is your goal, that is what you are trying to look like and to be as athletic as them, don't you think maybe you should be as strong as them? Okay? I mean, step back and use some common sense when people say these things. And I'm not saying you're going to look exactly like another human being's physique, but if you see a certain human being and you know that they trained a certain way to get that look, and you know they had a certain level of strength, do you really think you're going to pull it off doing 20% of it? In other words, if they can squat 400 pounds, do you really think you're going to hop around on a Bosu ball and do some bodyweight squats and you're going to have their legs and glutes? Do you think you're going to have their power? I'm not saying you'll even have their power and stuff anyways. There's some genetic traits there. But, I mean, be realistic, people. If you want to look like these lean, fit athletes, you probably need to lift like these lean, fit athletes. And how many of them trained like bodybuilders, too? How many of them either trained like competitive powerlifters or trained like serious bodybuilders under their trainers and coaches? How many of them threw around real heavy weights? How many of them did tons of hypertrophy work with free weights? Okay, so when people come up with this nonsense idea, what are you talking about? What in the heck are you talking about? Maybe you need to do what they did. Instead of saying, well, no, I don't really want to lift or lift heavy. I'm just going to do some push-ups and some body weight squats, and I'm sure I'll look like a lean, fit athlete, and I'm just not trying to get too big. If you're not trying to get too big, then don't eat enough to get big. Don't bulk. Because again, what's going to happen? How do you think you get lean? Like if you're trying to be at a certain body weight, and to be as lean as possible, you're going to have to gain some muscle. Like if you're not ripped right now, and let's say you're 160 pounds, 170 pounds, and you're not ripped, you're going to have to lose a bunch of body fat. Well, that means you're going to have to go on a cut and lose weight. If you don't gain a bunch of muscle, like let's say your ideal body fat, you say, oh, I want to be like this guy, but I want to do it at my current body weight. I don't want to lose 15 or 20 pounds. Right? You see a guy who's your height, he's 160, he's shredded. And you're 165 and not shredded. I mean, you got to lose 20 pounds of body fat to be shredded. You see where I'm going? You're about to diet down and be scrawny is what's going to happen. You're going to have to gain some muscle, and you're going to have to gain. You know how much work it takes in the gym to gain 15 pounds of solid muscle? Because that's the math you just had. If they're 5 pounds lighter than you and shredded, and you got to lose 20 pounds of fat to be at their body fat, you're going to have to gain 15 pounds of solid muscle to look like them, to have their physique. And it's that straightforward. 15 pounds of muscle is a lot of time under a barbell. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative.